dear friend. Have you ever felt like your thoughts keep spinning endlessly in your mind, preventing you from relaxing and falling asleep? The worries, the concerns seem to linger, making the night feel even longer and heavier. But did you know that in the shadows of psychology, there are secrets that can help you take control of those thoughts, gently guiding you into a peaceful sleep without worry or stress? In today's video, we will explore some of the darker psychological tactics, those subtle tricks that are often hard to notice but have the power to change the way you perceive yourself and the world around you. Get ready to step into this fascinating world, where we'll not only uncover ways to sleep better, but also delve into the deep, mysterious corners of the mind. Don't forget to subscribe to the Smart Sleep channel so you don't miss out on any of these secrets. The mirror effect, or Heu Ungung, is one of the most fascinating and powerful psychological phenomena that we often fail to recognize in our everyday lives. Each of us has moments when we unconsciously mimic someone's behavior, gestures, or even tone of voice without realizing it. But why do we do this? It's not by chance, it's a natural response of the mind, a way for humans to connect and feel safer in social relationships. If you've ever met someone and immediately felt like you clicked, chances are part of the reason lies in your unconscious mimicry of their gestures, posture, or tone of voice. This is the mirror effect, when you and the other person not only share space, but also mirror each other, creating a subtle harmony between two souls. This feeling isn't always obvious, but it holds immense power, especially in situations of persuasion or interpersonal communication. Psychological studies have shown that when we imitate someone, we not only feel closer to them, but we also build a strong sense of trust. This is why people in persuasive roles, from salespeople to negotiators, always use the mirror effect to influence their audience. They understand that if they can create a certain similarity in communication, whether it's words, gestures, or posture, they can easily establish trust and, from there, convince the other party. In fact, in negotiations, when you're sitting across from someone and unconsciously mirror their body language, you're sending an unspoken signal that says, "I understand you, I empathize with you," and just like that, the other person feels your empathy and is more likely to open up and collaborate with you. This feeling isn't confined just to negotiations or persuasion. It exists in all forms of social communication, from casual chats to tense or conflicting situations. The mirror effect can ease tension, create a pleasant atmosphere, and foster understanding, particularly in personal relationships. When you actively mirror someone's actions and emotions, you not only build closeness, but also help them feel that you truly care and understand them. As a result, the relationship becomes stronger and the connection between the two of you grows deeper. However, the mirror effect isn't always a positive tool. When it's used manipulatively, it can turn into a subtle form of control. For instance, in unhealthy relationships, one person might deliberately mimic your behaviors, emotions, and gestures to make you feel comfortable, thus gaining control over and manipulating your actions. The key to using the mirror effect is subtlety and ethics. When you realize how small gestures or genuine empathy can create a strong connection, you'll see that this doesn't just help you persuade others, but also helps you build sustainable, honest, and trustworthy relationships. That's why the mirror effect becomes one of the most important techniques in the art of communication and persuasion. Imagine sitting with a friend you haven't seen in a while, and throughout your conversation, you notice them subtly mirroring your little gestures, how you place your hands on the table, or the way you smile. You might not notice it right away, but looking back, you'll feel that you truly have a connection with that friend. They're not just a listener. They're someone who understands, someone in tune with you. That feeling is strange but so natural, isn't it? That's the magic of the mirror effect. Its ability to blur the boundaries between you and another person, creating an invisible yet powerful connection. But have you ever wondered why some people make you feel like you can't connect with them even when you've tried your best? It could be because they aren't using the mirror effect, or conversely, they're using it too blatantly. Once you recognize that mimicry isn't subtle anymore, the natural connection fades. Instead, you feel disturbed or manipulated. The art of using the mirror effect lies in its subtlety. If you mimic awkwardly, unnaturally, the other person will immediately pick up on it, and the sense of connection will vanish. So, the mirror effect isn't a manipulative technique that can be applied recklessly. It requires finesse, sensitivity, and a deep understanding of human psychology. To use the mirror effect effectively, you need to truly understand the person you're communicating with, what they feel, and what they want. If you can do that, creating a connection will be easier than ever. Therefore, when you want to build better relationships, from simple conversations to high-stakes situations like persuasion or conflict resolution, try applying the mirror effect naturally and sincerely. You'll notice changes not just in your relationships but in how you perceive others. A small action, but one filled with power, can lead to big changes in your life. You've probably felt the difference between communicating with someone who makes you feel comfortable and someone with whom you can't connect. It's not just a difference in personality, it's a difference in communication style. One person can make you feel at ease and trust them simply by mirroring your gestures, while another might make you feel uneasy because you can't find that harmony in communication. That's why understanding and applying the mirror effect can open new doors for building relationships and creating real connections in life. Finally, the mirror effect isn't just a powerful tool in communication, it's also an essential part of building long-lasting and sincere relationships. When you know how to use it subtly and appropriately, you'll find that not only do you create connections with others, but you also bring comfort and a sense of safety into every conversation, every situation. So always remember, sometimes just one small action, a delicate mirror of another's gesture, can make a relationship more connected and enduring than ever before. I understand that when we delve into the deeper aspects of human psychology, the invisible forces that shape our daily lives, the subtle techniques that help us understand and influence the interactions around us, you might start to feel curious about the older, more spiritual methods, those elements of faith and religion that humanity has used for centuries to connect with deeper layers of the self. That's why, when we look at invocation and prayer, we realize that these tools are not just religious practices, but also powerful psychological methods that bring peace and awakening to the soul. For centuries, humans have sought ways to connect with a greater energy, an invisible force they feel deeply within. Prayers and sacred rituals are how they invoke peace and protection from these unseen realms. In moments when we feel lost, weary, or alone, sitting still, closing our eyes, and whispering a prayer is not just an act of faith, it's a process of healing the soul. When we repeat prayers, wishes from the depths of our hearts, we're not just connecting with a higher being, we're recreating calm and peace within our minds. Prayers and invocations may not only be a religious ritual but also a powerful tool for self-reflection and understanding the world around us. When we raise our hands to the sky, or even simply close our eyes and quietly breathe, we are honoring ourselves and the universe. In these moments, each prayer isn't merely a request for goodness, It's a way to guide us into a state of meditation where chaotic thoughts slowly calm down and make space for a feeling of tranquility and serenity. Words that seem simple, like, "Please bring me peace," or "Show me the right path," hold within them a profound connection with the unseen world, one we can't see but always feel. Each prayer, each invocation is like a heartbeat of the universe, a part of the harmony between humanity and all things. When you listen to prayers, you're not just hearing mere words, but you're feeling the energy and the deep meaning they carry. From ancient mantras to modern-day prayers, the ultimate goal is always to seek connection and peace in life. When you call upon these energies, you're not only seeking help from the outside world, but also connecting with yourself, with the essence of your soul that you might not have noticed before. A prayer doesn't always need to be clear or formal. Sometimes, it's simply a moment of stillness in the heart, a moment to relax and release all worries, just to embrace the good things life has to offer. Those who practice meditation, yoga, or deep breathing exercises know that allowing the mind to rest and focusing on positive thoughts can improve both mental and physical health. Similarly, a prayer is a way to harmonize with yourself, bringing you back to the basic values of life, where you no longer need to worry or fear about what's yet to come. Invoking peace is not always easy, especially when the world around you is noisy and complicated. But when you start learning how to invite peace into your evenings, you'll notice a small but powerful change in how you view the world. Instead of being swept up by worries, you'll begin to learn how to let go and allow your soul to relax. This doesn't just help you feel more comfortable in daily life, but it also improves the quality of your sleep, something that many of us are sorely lacking today. By inviting peace and gentleness into your heart, you'll begin to feel the change even in your dreams. When you start practicing these prayers, remember that the most important thing is the belief and stillness in your heart. Prayers don't have to be overly elaborate or complicated. Sometimes it's the simplicity and sincerity that have the greatest effect. Let your heart guide you, and you'll realize that this invocation is not just a form of worship, but also a part of the journey to rediscover peace within your soul. In these quiet moments, we can find strength as we take time to connect with ourselves and the universe around us. Peace isn't something that can be bought or attained instantly. It's a continuous process of self-discovery and renewal. Invoking peace and offering prayers are part of that journey. What matters is that you take time for yourself, time to truly listen, to feel the good things life brings. Prayers aren't just external petitions, they're the healing that comes from within. Each night, as you wrap up a long day, try to take a few minutes to invite peace into your mind. Let the worries and tiredness of yesterday fade away, keeping only what is light and serene. The words of a prayer may not always be clear, but in each quiet moment, you'll notice a shift in your feelings and emotions. You'll realize that these simple words have the power to take you to a space where you can truly rest, relax, and find peace within yourself. Believe that through these moments, you'll not only find peace at night, but also a deep connection with yourself and the universe. Each prayer, each step in your journey to reclaim peace is a gift you give to yourself. And this, indeed, is the beginning of a restful night's sleep, a new day full of brightness and hope. We've explored psychological tactics together, subtle techniques that people often apply unconsciously in daily interactions, from prayers that create a deep connection with oneself to sophisticated methods that influence the behavior of others. And now, I want to share with you one more fascinating psychological tactic, the The door-in-the-face technique, an approach in the art of persuasion that you may have heard of, but perhaps haven't fully understood the hidden power it holds. The door-in-the-face technique is one of the strategies people use to influence others' behavior without directly asking them for something from the very start. It might sound a little strange, doesn't it? You might think that a big, clear request would make someone uncomfortable and cause them to immediately say no. But interestingly, it's this very refusal that creates a big opportunity for the next request, a smaller one that will likely be accepted more easily than ever before. How can this be? It's rooted in a profound psychological principle called reciprocity. When you make an initial large request, the listener will usually refuse because, simply put, the request exceeds their capability or desire. But the fascinating part is that after refusing the big request, they often feel a sense of relief, a compromise on their part, and this tends to make them more likely to accept a smaller request afterward. This is a natural psychological response. When people feel they've rejected a large request, they have a tendency to agree to a smaller one because they want to feel that they're still acting reasonably, fairly, and responsibly. Imagine a simple situation in your life. You want to borrow something from a friend, let's say their bicycle. If you start by asking to borrow the bike for a week, this request might be too big, and you might be immediately turned down. But if you begin by asking to borrow it for a whole month, which is clearly a much bigger request than the original one, they'll likely say no. However, after this refusal, you can easily ask to borrow it for just a day or a few hours. And this smaller request will have a much higher chance of being accepted because your friend will feel that they've already made a concession. This concession is a crucial part of using the door-in-the-face technique. When people refuse a large request, they feel like they've failed to meet an expectation, and this creates a slight psychological tension. So, when you follow up with a smaller request, they feel like they're doing something good, fair, and reasonable. To them, the smaller request becomes far easier to accept, and that's why the chances of them agreeing to it after rejecting the larger request are so high. At its core, this technique taps into the reciprocity principle in psychology, a principle that suggests people tend to respond to others' actions with similar actions, maintaining balance in relationships. When you make a large request followed by a smaller one, you not only make the other person feel like they're conceding to you, but you also create a sense that they're doing something good, a reasonable, mutually beneficial action. This doesn't just occur in personal situations. It can be applied in business negotiations, sales, or any scenario that requires persuasion. Sales experts and negotiators often use this technique to achieve their goals. For example, a salesperson might start by offering a customer a product at a high price, knowing that the request will be refused. Then they'll offer a lower price, making the customer feel like they're getting a good deal and more likely to agree to purchase the product. Understanding this technique also helps you recognize when it's being applied to you. If you find yourself in a situation where a large request is made first, and then a smaller one follows, pay attention to your feelings. Sometimes, you might feel a bit of guilt or a need to accept the smaller request because you've already rejected the larger one. That's exactly when the door-in-the-face technique is at work. In fact, this technique can also be used to improve relationships between people. If you want to persuade someone to do something for you, try applying this method subtly. You could start with a request that's too large, knowing it will be rejected, then follow up with a more reasonable request. This not only helps you achieve your goal, but also creates a harmonious and cooperative atmosphere between you and the other person. However, You need to be very careful when using this technique. Overusing it can lead to feelings of manipulation or exploitation, which can harm your relationship with the other person. Therefore, the door-in-the-face technique needs to be applied with subtlety and skill to avoid creating discomfort or a sense of being taken advantage of. You must ensure that the smaller request after the larger one is rejected is still reasonable and does not make the other person feel pressured. With all these elements in mind, the door-in-the-face technique is truly a powerful and effective psychological strategy in persuasive situations. It's not just a trick to get what you want, but a method to understand and influence others' behavior naturally and strategically. And when you learn to use it subtly and responsibly, you'll find that you can achieve surprising results in communication and connecting with those around you. We've walked through many aspects of psychology together, from simple persuasive techniques to the hidden secrets deep within the human mind. Today, I want to take you into another space, one where unresolved thoughts and unfinished tasks strangely occupy our minds, preventing us from easily letting go or putting them aside. This is known as the Zarnik effect. Have you ever felt that an unfinished task lingers in your mind, even though you've tried to focus on other things? Or sometimes, an unresolved thought occupies your mind throughout the day, making it impossible to truly rest. This is the power of the Zarnik effect. It explains why unfinished tasks or unresolved situations can dominate our minds longer than completed ones. What's even stranger is that it's the incompletion itself that makes it so hard to forget or let go. It creates a sense of weight in our hearts, causing us to keep returning to those thoughts, whether we want to or not. I'm sure you've experienced this feeling, haven't you? Especially at night, when you lie down, sometimes thoughts about unfinished work, incomplete projects, or unresolved conversations flood back, preventing you from falling asleep. Even though you might try to tuck everything away into a corner of your mind, it feels like they just won't leave. You'll notice that no matter how hard you try, unfinished things occupy much more space in your head than completed tasks. The reason for this phenomenon isn't simply because of work left undone, but because the human mind has an uncanny attraction to things that are unclear, to situations left hanging. This is why it constantly makes you return to find a way to resolve them. The Zarnik effect has a strong parallel to real-life situations where we're faced with unanswered questions. Think back to times when you've watched a favorite TV show or movie. You'll notice an interesting detail. Producers intentionally create unexpected situations, cliffhangers, or unresolved scenarios. Why do they do this? Simply because the Zarnik effect creates curiosity. When a story is left at a tense moment or an unclear point, viewers feel they can't move on, can't forget. They want to know what happens next, and it's that incompletion that keeps them coming back for the answer. There's a scientific reason behind this curiosity. Incompletion creates an uncomfortable state in our minds. When something is left unresolved, the brain treats it as an unfinished project, an unsolved problem. As a natural consequence, it makes people unable to stop thinking about it until the issue is resolved, no matter how much time or mental energy it takes. This is why one of the strategies used by TV producers or story writers is to leave things at just the right moment, to spark curiosity and motivate viewers or readers to come back to find the answer. It's a strategy that's not only about creating suspense, but also about tapping into our psychological instinct, the need to finish what's incomplete. You can easily spot the Zarnik effect in any film, TV show, or even in stories shared by friends. A show often ends an episode with a question or an unresolved situation, leaving viewers feeling uneasy, unable to stop watching until the answer is revealed. This happens because the human brain tends to prioritize unfinished or unclear information. It seeks to resolve this issue because the brain doesn't like gaps or incompleteness. Thus, unresolved situations in stories make us feel uncomfortable and push us to return, to continue, to seek completion. The Zarnik effect cleverly draws our attention to the points left unfinished, making it so difficult to simply ignore them. And this doesn't just apply to entertainment or stories. It plays an important role in our daily lives and work. Every time you leave a task incomplete, whether big or small, it can affect your performance and sense of satisfaction in life. When you can't finish a task, even though other things may be waiting, that sense of unfinished will still dominate your mind. You can't just let it go without feeling an urge to return and complete it. This also explains why we often become obsessed with unfinished work or uncompleted projects. Each time we begin a task, if we can't finish it, we feel like we're carrying a mental burden, and that's why we keep thinking about it. These tasks take up our attention, prolonging the feeling of incompletion, and sometimes even creating an invisible pressure that makes us feel stressed. This is why you might still think about work, even when you've decided to rest or relax. The Zarnik effect isn't just a theoretical concept in psychology. It truly governs how we process every situation in our lives. The important thing is to recognize its presence in everyday life. Knowing that unfinished tasks can dominate your mind, you can learn how to manage and ease the anxiety instead of letting them disrupt the peace in your life. Once you're aware of the power of this effect, you'll be able to figure out how to tackle tasks and duties without letting them become a burden on your mind. So, on those evenings when you're preparing to sleep, try spending a few minutes reflecting on the unfinished tasks of the day. Instead of letting them haunt you and occupy your mind, find a way to gently close them, or at least allow them to no longer disturb you. You could write down what needs to be completed tomorrow, or simply acknowledge that they are still there and will be dealt with later. By doing so, you'll free your mind from the uncompleted thoughts, allowing you to have a peaceful sleep, free from the lingering weight of unfinished tasks. We've explored many aspects of human psychology together, from unconscious behaviors to the subtle strategies people use every day without even realizing it. And today, I want to share with you one of the most profound techniques, one of the most delicate tricks in the art of psychological manipulation, the guilt-tripping technique. Guilt is a powerful force, and when someone can cleverly make you feel guilty, they've gained a certain level of control over your actions. This technique doesn't require clear demands or forceful tactics. It works through gentle words that can have a deep, lasting effect. It's a very subtle form of manipulation, exploiting human sensitivity to fairness and mutual treatment. We've all experienced moments when someone made us feel guilty, even when we hadn't done anything wrong. And this feeling, whether mild or intense, can push us to do things we initially had no intention of doing. So, how exactly does the guilt trip technique work? And why does it have such powerful effects? Let's explore this further. The guilt tripping technique is a psychological strategy used by manipulators to make others feel guilty, thereby compelling them to comply with their demands. Those who use this technique don't need to issue direct orders or requests. Instead, they subtly create a feeling of guilt in the other person through indirect remarks or silent gestures, such as, "After everything I've done for you, can't you do this one thing for me?" This line might be casually spoken, but it carries immense power, making the listener feel they can't refuse, that they can't turn their back on the one making the request. This is a form of manipulation because it doesn't involve clear-cut demands. It's all about creating a feeling of incompleteness unfairness, and guilt in the listener. When the listener feels guilty for not doing something, they may feel a need to make up for it by fulfilling the manipulator's request. For example, a friend might say to you, "After everything I've done for you, can't you help me out just a little?" And immediately, even if you don't want to, you might feel a little anxious, a little guilty, because you feel like you're being unfair or lacking in empathy. From there, you might agree to do what they ask, just to ease that guilt. This technique is really based on understanding human psychology and the expectations we have in relationships. When we receive help or support from someone, our natural instinct is to feel grateful. However, when someone else asks us to do something and they cleverly remind us of their past help, we easily feel a responsibility to return the favor. This is a basic psychological response. When someone helps us, we feel the need to reciprocate, to maintain balance in the relationship. We can see the guilt trip technique in many situations in life. A friend might ask you to do something you don't want to do, but instead of directly asking, they use indirect remarks that make you feel like not doing what they ask would make you seem inconsiderate or unfair, especially in family relationships. When a loved one reminds you of everything they've done for you, you might feel an invisible pressure, an unavoidable sense of guilt, and you agree, even though you don't want to, just because you feel like you owe them, like you're failing in some way. That's exactly what the manipulator wants you to feel. However, it's important to recognize when we're being manipulated by this technique so that we can protect ourselves from unfair demands. If you constantly feel like you must do something because of guilt, because someone else has done so much for you, you might be falling into the trap of psychological manipulation. A healthy relationship should not be built on feelings of guilt, but rather on understanding, respect, and mutual support. When one party continuously uses guilt to force the other to comply, it's a sign of manipulation and imbalance. Recognizing and dealing with the guilt trip technique also requires a high level of self-awareness. When you feel that a request is being made with the intention of inducing guilt, ask yourself whether the request is truly reasonable, whether you've done anything wrong, and whether you're being pressured to do something simply because of guilt. If the answer is no, then you have the right to refuse and protect your own interests without feeling guilty. You don't have to do something you don't want to just to please someone else. So, how can you handle these situations effectively without falling into the guilt trap? The best approach is to always maintain confidence and set clear boundaries in relationships. Never feel like you have to do something just because you fear the other person will feel guilty if you refuse. A true relationship is based on mutual agreement and understanding, not emotional manipulation. If you find yourself being manipulated, find a way to speak clearly, gently, but firmly, that you can't comply with their request and that you have the right to say no without feeling like you're a bad or inconsiderate person. The guilt-tripping technique is not only a psychological tool in personal relationships, but can also be applied in work relationships, persuasive situations, or negotiations. This highlights the power of manipulating human emotions in social contexts. However, if used consciously and responsibly, we can recognize that the key is maintaining mutual respect and understanding in every relationship, rather than allowing guilt to control and dominate our behavior. So, remember that in every relationship, whether it's with friends, family, or in the workplace, we all have the right to protect our emotions. Don't let guilt or manipulative words dictate your actions. Always live truthfully with yourself, knowing that love and respect are the essential elements in building truly sustainable and meaningful relationships. After exploring complex psychological strategies such as the guilt tripping or the door-in-the-face technique. Today, I want to guide you into a deeper realm where manipulation goes beyond imposing emotions on a single person. This is a more complex strategy, where a third party is introduced into the equation. It's called the manipulator's triangle. The manipulator's triangle is a strategy where the manipulator doesn't directly confront the issue, but instead creates a triangular relationship involving a third party. Rather than addressing a conflict or argument directly and transparently, the manipulator pulls a third party into the situation, making the issue become more tangled and unclear. This is a sophisticated method because it creates a sense of insecurity, making each participant uncertain about the feelings and attitudes of the others involved. In a normal relationship, when you encounter a problem, you and the other party would exchange views, resolve it, and find common ground. However, when a manipulator uses the manipulator's triangle technique, they don't simply make a request or state a desire. Instead, they create division by stirring up doubt and blurring the clear boundaries between everyone involved. The reason this triangular strategy becomes so powerful and dangerous is that it not only makes the person being manipulated uncomfortable, but also confuses the parties involved in the conflict. Instead of facing a clear issue, everyone involved has to decipher each other's motivations. As a result, the ambiguity and insecurity will continuously push the participants into a state of being controlled. This creates a unique psychological effect. The person being manipulated will feel the need to maintain an upper hand, protect themselves from the insecurity and invisible doubts, and from there, they are easily controlled. To better understand how this technique works, we can look at real-life situations. For example, let's say you're in a conflict with a close friend. Instead of addressing the issue directly with you, the manipulator might quietly tell a mutual friend a version of the story that casts you in a negative light. The story may not be complete or might be edited in such a way that it presents only one side of the issue, making you seem wrong or untrustworthy. The mutual friend, not having the full picture, may begin to view you differently. This creates a chaotic situation, leaving you feeling isolated, while the manipulator has successfully controlled the situation without having to confront the issue directly. What's crucial to note here is that this manipulation doesn't have to be overt or aggressive. It can be very subtle, almost like a psychological game. The manipulator often uses skillful tactics to make all the parties involved feel unsafe, unable to clearly understand each other's motives. This feeling, though it may begin subtly, will over time become an invisible force that influences the relationship between the individuals, making it harder for them to communicate directly and effectively. In this case, no one in the conflict can be entirely sure they will receive the truth or fairness. This uncertainty, therefore, prevents a clear resolution, and it's exactly what helps the manipulator maintain control. This technique can be used in many different situations, not just in personal relationships, but also in work, family dynamics, and even in negotiations. Imagine being part of a working group where there's a debate over a critical decision. One person, instead of voicing their opinion directly to you, starts talking negatively about you to another group member, sowing doubt about your ability. They might question your decision-making without directly confronting you, creating division within the group and making you the target of suspicion. Later, when you try to defend your point of view, you'll find yourself in a vague argument with a divided group, making you feel attacked from all sides. This is a prime example of the manipulator's triangle at play. One reason why this strategy is so powerful is that it exploits the natural instinct of self-preservation and the desire to avoid conflict. When we face a problem, we often want to resolve it quickly But when that resolution is complicated by the involvement of a third party, everything becomes harder. Instead of confronting the issue directly, we're caught in a psychological game where we not only have to defend our position, but also explain ourselves to others, making the situation more complicated and stressful. For this reason, manipulators can create confrontations without having to take responsibility. They can maintain a position of being outside of the conflict and simply watch as others argue while still keeping control. They know that every time they involve a third party, they can deflect attention and create division without directly facing the consequences. This is an extremely effective strategy for maintaining power and manipulating the behavior of those around them. However, recognizing and dealing with the manipulator's triangle is also an important skill. To protect yourself from being manipulated, you need to learn how to recognize when you're being pulled into a situation that is unclear and convoluted. A simple way to spot this is to pay attention to how you feel. If you start feeling uncertain or insecure about those around you, take a step back and reassess the situation. Ask yourself whether someone is trying to sow doubt and division between you and others. When you can identify this manipulative behavior, you'll be better equipped to take clear actions and protect yourself from its negative impact. In life, the manipulator's triangle is not just a tactic in personal relationships. It's a psychological strategy that can arise in any context. It might be part of a family relationship where members can't communicate directly with each other and must rely on third parties. It can also appear in the workplace, where someone uses division to gain an advantage. But no matter where this strategy emerges, the important thing is to be aware of its signs and understand how it operates. Therefore, whenever you find yourself caught in a situation where things become unclear and influenced by multiple factors, always remember that clarity and direct communication are the keys to maintaining healthy relationships. Instead of being manipulated, create space for yourself to express your thoughts and protect your personal interests in a way that is firm but respectful to others. Always stand by your position and protect transparency in every situation, and you will never fall into the trap that the manipulator's triangle sets. We've explored many powerful psychological tactics together, from subtle manipulations to deeply influential behaviors. Today, I want to share with you one of the most sophisticated, yet extremely common tactics in relationships: the silent treatment. This is a form of emotional manipulation that you might not even realize is happening, but it holds immense power, especially in controlling and directing the behavior of others. The silent treatment is a psychological tactic in which one person deliberately withholds communication or avoids the other, making them feel rejected, abandoned, or disrespected. This isn't just unintentional silence, it's a purposeful act designed to create insecurity in the other person, making them feel deprived of attention and care, which in turn makes them easier to manipulate. The reason this tactic is so powerful is that it exploits human beings' natural need for connection, communication, and a sense of being loved. When someone is subjected to the silent treatment, they experience an invisible emptiness in the relationship, which triggers anxiety and even fear of being abandoned. When we don't receive communication, we naturally feel deprived, uncertain, and prone to anxiety. The feeling of being rejected, unable to reach or communicate with someone we care about, is one of the most painful and distressing experiences a person can go through. Silence isn't just the absence of words, but the absence of care, making the affected person feel as if they no longer matter, as if they've been excluded from the circle of connection. This is why, when this technique is used, the recipient feels deeply uncomfortable, and they will do whatever they can to change the situation, even if it means giving in to the manipulator's demands. What's important to note is that when someone uses the silent treatment, they don't need to make a clear request. They don't have to say what they want. But the silence itself carries immense power because it makes the other person feel abandoned and dismissed. This feeling leaves them with no option but to try to get the other person to speak to them again. This undermines their self-esteem, pushing them to seek attention or even comply with the manipulator's requests just to ease the discomfort they're experiencing. Imagine you're in a relationship, and one day, your friend or partner starts giving you the silent treatment. They don't respond to your messages, don't engage when you try to talk to them, and seem indifferent to you. At first, you might be surprised, unsure of what's happening, but gradually, feelings of anxiety start to creep in. You begin wondering if you've done something wrong, whether they no longer care for you. You start feeling lonely, deprived of the connection you once had. This silence doesn't just make you feel rejected, it also causes you to start questioning your own worth. And the more you worry about the silence, the more you become susceptible to manipulation. Certainly, when you feel you can't communicate with someone you care about, the feeling of being abandoned is inevitable. This feeling gradually erodes your confidence, and you start seeking attention from them, whether it means complying with their requests or not. This is the goal of the silent treatment, to make you feel inadequate, to make you feel deprived of attention, and ultimately, to force you to change your behavior to regain the attention and connection you crave. One reason why this tactic has such a strong impact is the uncertainty it creates. When you don't know why the other person is being silent, the lack of information causes your mind to start working overtime, coming up with countless hypotheses about the reasons behind the silence. You might think you've done something wrong, that you're not good enough, or that the other person no longer cares. Even though these thoughts may not be true, they still increase your anxiety, insecurity, and susceptibility to control. This is one of the key strengths of this technique. It doesn't need to directly manipulate. It only needs to create insecurity in the mind of the person being manipulated. It's important to note that the silent treatment doesn't just occur in romantic relationships. It can show up in family relationships, friendships, or even in the workplace. In a work environment, a colleague might use this tactic to exert pressure or control over someone without ever speaking a word. For example, a colleague might refuse to communicate with you or not respond when you need help, leaving you feeling isolated and unsupported. In this situation, you'll feel the absence of support and empathy, and this might lead you to find ways to please them, even if it means complying with their demands. The silent treatment can also appear in family relationships, where one person deliberately refuses to communicate with another to create insecurity. For example, a father or mother might withhold communication from their child when the child doesn't comply with their wishes, creating loneliness and deprivation in the child. To relieve this anxiety, the child will try to please the parent, changing their behavior or complying with their demands. The key is that when you recognize that you're being manipulated by the silent treatment, you need to identify it and not let it control your emotions. To protect yourself from the effects of this tactic, you need to understand that silence doesn't always mean the end of a relationship or situation. Sometimes, the person being silent is just trying to create control, not abandon you. When you realize that silence is just a tool for manipulating your emotions, you'll be able to respond intelligently and stay calm. Remember, a true relationship should be built on communication and mutual respect. If you feel you're being manipulated by the silent treatment, be strong and confront the issue. Find ways to open up a conversation, ask for clarification, and make things clear. Once you confront silence in a clear and determined way, you'll no longer be controlled by anxiety or worry. And in the end, you'll realize that true strength lies in genuine connection and open communication, not in emotional games. So, when you feel a relationship beginning to show signs of silence, don't let yourself fall into the trap of emotional manipulation. Be strong and confident, because you deserve to be treated with respect and clear communication. Only then can you maintain healthy relationships, free from the influence of subtle and covert tactics like this. After we've explored subtle psychological tactics, such as the silent treatment and the manipulator's triangle, today I want to take you to another fascinating concept in psychology: the illusory truth effect. It's a phenomenon that can happen in our daily lives without us even realizing, but it has a powerful influence on how we accept information and make decisions. The illusory truth effect is the psychological phenomenon where people begin to believe false information simply because they hear it repeatedly. Repetition makes the information feel familiar, and over time, we're more likely to accept it as truth, even though it might be false. Have you ever wondered why rumors or inaccurate information spread so quickly and can influence thousands or even millions of people? Or why you might trust something even though you know it might not be entirely true? That's the illusory truth effect at work in our minds. This story begins with a simple psychological principle, yet one with profound effects. The more often we hear something, the easier it becomes to consider it true. This doesn't just happen with media or everyday life, but it can also happen with our own personal beliefs and thoughts. We stop questioning, we stop verifying, we just accept the information as an undeniable truth. That's the power of the illusory truth effect. It exploits our tendency to avoid thinking critically and verifying things for ourselves. Think about it. In a single day, how much information do you hear from friends, family, co-workers, or through media channels? And of that, how much do you actually verify or research? Many of us take in information passively, especially when we hear something over and over for an extended period. We don't have the time or don't want to put in the effort to figure out if it's truly accurate. Instead, we simply accept what is repeated in our daily lives as truth, because it has become familiar to us. This explains why some misinformation can spread so easily and become accepted as truth in the public's eye. Gossip, unchecked rumors, or unverified information in articles or on social media are easily accepted because they've been repeated so many times. When information is repeated often enough, it's no longer questioned. In fact, when people are asked to reconsider, they may find it hard to believe anything else because the false information has become too familiar in their minds. A clear example of the illusory truth effect can be seen in advertising campaigns. You may have heard about a brand or product thousands of times through ads, from YouTube videos to social media posts. When you hear an advertising message repeatedly, even if it's an exaggeration or not entirely accurate, you start to believe it as a truth, even if the information is misleading or lacks evidence. Because it has been repeated so much, it begins to have a powerful effect on your thinking. This is why marketing campaigns, especially on TV or social media platforms, often use repetition to make a strong impression and turn inaccurate information into truth in the consumer's mind. And this doesn't stop with advertising. When someone repeatedly hears a false story in daily conversations, through mass media, or even from unverified online sources, they will gradually accept it as truth, even though it may be completely baseless. This is why rumors, conspiracy theories, and fake stories can persist for a long time and influence so many people. We don't fact-check, we don't question, we just passively accept the information. We've become victims of the illusory truth effect. However, the illusory truth effect isn't always negative. In fact, it can help us process information more quickly and easily in a world overwhelmed with information. When we receive information continuously, we can rapidly form understandings and beliefs across many areas without having to dig too deeply. But the problem arises when we lose control of this repetition. We can easily become swayed by false information, and as a result, our beliefs and perceptions may shift without us fully understanding the facts. You may wonder how to deal with the illusory truth effect and protect yourself from misinformation. One of the most important steps is to cultivate critical thinking skills and verify information before accepting and believing it. When you hear a story, read an article, or watch a video, always ask yourself, is this information reliable? Who is behind this information? And what might their motives be? The key is not to let repetition make you forget to ask questions and check the truth. By developing a habit of fact-checking and questioning, you'll help yourself avoid the trap of the illusory truth effect. And at the same time, you'll realize that not everything that's said or repeated is true. Always stay alert and keep a clear perspective to avoid getting swept up in false information. In fact, one of the biggest challenges in today's information age is the rapid spread of rumors and misinformation. With the rise of social media platforms, information can be shared at lightning speed, and every time that information is repeated, the illusory truth effect becomes stronger. That's why, to keep yourself from getting caught in misinformation, you must always verify and ensure the information you're receiving is accurate. Remember, in a world full of information, being aware of the illusory truth effect will help you protect yourself from falsehoods while enhancing your critical thinking and understanding. Don't let repetition fool you, and don't fall into the trap of accepting information without proper verification. Only when you truly understand how the illusory truth effect works can you protect yourself and maintain clarity in this information-rich world. You can close your eyes now and let your thoughts fade away like mist. If your mind still wants to wander, let it continue its journey to the next video, where we dive even deeper into the mysteries of the soul. And if your body is tired, let this sound gently carry you into sleep. There's no need to try too hard, just breathe. And remember, everything you seek is already lying within yourself.